Hello and welcome to In Focus, where we bring you some of the most captivating human interest stories of the past week. I'm Salia Strzemska. And we begin today's program with a story about art and publishing. There's, after all, no better way to make the works of art accessible to anyone, even from the comfort of their own home. BoSz Publishing is a publishing house that has been creating albums dedicated to art and cultural heritage for 30 years. The company's albums are created in cooperation with outstanding artists, but the crown jewel of the collection are reproductions of Zdzisław Beksiński's works. Take a look.
In the small town of Lesko, there operates a remarkable publishing house dedicated to promoting contemporary Polish art. Over its 30 years of existence, Bosch has published nearly 2,000 titles, primarily albums focusing on art, Polish history, and its natural landscapes. In a world where many have already lost faith in the printed book, Bosch continues to grow with ever more ambitious plans for the future.
My name is Bogdan Szymanik. I was born in Biłgoraj. Next, I was studying on Technical University in Gdańsk. I was sure that communism should be died in the near future. It was absolutely crazy time because we saw a lot of soldiers and no freedom at all, and we decided to change our place for living and move to Bieszczady. And I bought a small house and moved with my wife and 2 children.
When the Szymanik family moved to the Bieszczady Mountains, this southeastern part of Poland was almost uninhabited. It was renowned for its wild nature. In the aftermath of martial law, Poland was plunged into economic and political crisis. For many, the Bieszczady region became the last refuge of freedom, untouched by the communist reality. The only work available to a young engineer arriving from Warsaw was hard physical labor in logging.
Oh, it was absolutely empty country. We have to remember that it was very hard time for Poland generally. And I worked in this time as in the forest. It was hard physical job, but it made me stronger. So I had the best condition in my life in this time. So.
The year 1989 brought significant changes, including partially free parliamentary elections. The Szymanik family began to engage in grassroots efforts to support opposition candidates. It was then that Szymanik founded a small company, naming it Bosch. He decided to sell the independent press in small bookstores. Establishing a publishing house became the next natural step.
I was sure that I have to open some company. Books are, for me, natural. Books, newspapers, and everything independent in this time in Poland. I decided in 1994 I have to open a publishing house with the same name, BoSz Company, and start to work with albums. And my idea was to do everything on the highest level in the Europe.
The first album published by the BoSz Publishing House was simply titled Bieszczady. It was a tribute to the small homeland the Szymanik family had chosen. The next album focused on the city of Lviv, to which the family holds a deep connection. This was followed by a series dedicated to Polish cities. The next step was collaboration with museums. Szymanek realized that his mission was to showcase Polish artists and their works to the world through albums of the highest quality.
In this time, Polish printing houses were on the low level. They didn't have machine, they didn't have know-how. So first book I printed in Slovenia, beautiful country anyway, and next one in Hong Kong, and some books in Italy also. And it was about 20 years. 20 years I printed everything out of Poland. I'm pretty sure that Polish art are not enough known in the world. We have some very good artists. For example, Wyspiański is excellent, for Witkacy, Beksiński, Łempicka, so Nowosielski. And it was natural process that we prepared every year something new, a lot of new books.
A turning point came with the meeting of Beksinski, an artist connected to nearby Sanok. Trained as an architect and once employed at a bus factory in his youth, Beksinski had long been creating extraordinary, imagination-stirring paintings. While often overlooked by critics, his work was beloved by audiences.
In my case, painting is not about any societal mission, but rather a need of the soul. It's a kind of psychological distortion I was born with.
He was excellent gentleman and excellent artist. I met Beksiński in 1995, something like that, but first it was a call from director of Historic Museum. They worked with Beksiński a lot of years and asked me, is it possible to publish an album with Beksiński paintings? Of course, I was excited, and I met Beksiński in his house in Warsaw. We were talking. He took care for me, for my business. He afraid all the time that I can lose a lot of money. I didn't.
The publishing house embraced the idea of releasing two versions of each book, a larger, luxurious edition and a smaller, more affordable one. Over the past 30 years, in collaboration with the museum in Sanok, which preserves the legacy of the artist, Bosch has published 20 different albums featuring Beksinski's paintings. All of them have been a success.
His first time, it was coloring time. They call it coloring times for Beksiński. It was the most fascinating, I think. He was very patient, so not too often he had something else than we decided before with Zdzisław Beksiński. Usually he was agree every time with our ideas.
Everything seemed to go smoothly for me. Good parents, decent family material conditions. I wasn't stupid, but I hated myself terribly. I constantly felt inferior to others, weaker, less attractive, cowardly, shy, lacking muscles. In short, a nobody.
Painting is intuitive for people, especially for me. I think about paintings not like historic of art, but like amateur. Generally, I publish a lot of books about art, but I think I'm still amateur. I don't make analysis every images. I like it or I don't. He didn't want to discuss about his paintings. When we prepared some conference with journalists, he didn't like this kind of question. What you were thinking about painting this time? He didn't answer any time. He said me one time that he's a cheerful pessimist. I think it was true, because he was laughing every time. He was He was so nice in talking, so natural. He didn't tell anything wrong about different painters. This is really nice. He used a lot of colors here. In his second part of life, usually it was kind of grain, brown, or almost no colors. I feel that Beksiński afraid the end of his life. And he said me a couple years before they killed him, I don't afraid the death, but I afraid dying. And it happened because they killed him and they put him on the balcony. It was February, it was really cold.
I'm aware of the insignificance of all our actions and thoughts in comparison to the vastness of the universe. And when I think about it, I try to find some solace in the fact that it all doesn't matter anyway, because already it's as if I didn't exist at all.
Beksiński is very popular, especially young people love him. Probably it's kind of fantasy. But also Beksiński is the most popular from Polish painters in US. We have distributor in United States, in California, and I think about 70% books selling by him is Beksiński. Not only this one, but all books about Beksiński.
The publishing house has remained on the market for 30 years. People often ask Szymanek how this is possible. Szymanek always responds the same way: passion, love for art, and quality.
Well, the first idea should be quality. If we start with something, we have to decide what kind of books we want to prepare. Do we want to do business only, or we would like to show something nice? Our idea is from the beginning was, of course, quality. Quality. It was the reason why I work with different countries, not only in Poland. So I can say quality. Time is time for the highest quality for everything, I believe. When communists died, we had to change everything in our mentality.
The Kashubian language, spoken in northern Poland near the Baltic Sea, made its official debut on stage at the Grand Theatre National Opera in Warsaw. Polish actors Danuta, Stenka and Damian, Wilma brought to life a new Kashubian production entitled WOLØ BŁSKØ. It's a love story in which nothing is as it seems.
The Kashubian language, rarely present in Polish classical music, became the foundation for the song cycle WOLØ BOSKÓ for baritone and piano, composed by contemporary composer Łukasz Godyla. The piece is the result of a collaboration with Damian Wilma, a Kashubian-born singer.
I was really puffed and amazed by the beauty of poetical metaphor of these songs and of the great music. So we started to think to join it together and to create a sort of the opera And we went to Waldemar Dąbrowski, the head director of the National Opera, with this idea. And he was enthusiastic about it. So, but it took anyway 3 years to develop the project, and we are ready to show it to the audience and to share it with the audience. Now, with the audience of National Opera, first time in Kashubian language. When you listen Kashubian language first, it's very difficult to follow. We've got subtitles to follow for the audience. But anyway, further you go, you start to understand it. Because it's quite amazing that in this language there are echoes of old Slavonic words, which are still there and they don't exist anymore in Polish language. So the breakfast, for example, is pokrzesznik. So the root of this word comes to the very old times and ancient ages. So that makes the beauty of this language, of this poetry. But we wanted to somehow to give a plot to the action. That's a story about love, about the revenge, and about the ghost who is coming back to the earth to make an order, to awake conscious, and to be back to the outer worlds.
The performance tells the tragic story of Hanuszka and Jasiek in the Kashubian landscape, from their first meeting to broken promises and their death. The role of Hanuszka was played by renowned Polish actress Danuta Stenka, who was born in the Kashubian region.
Co poczułam?
When I heard that I would be able to take part in this project, I felt an immense childlike joy, and my inner child was very happy. It was my dream to step onto the stage and perform in this language.
Że będę mogła w tym języku grać. Nie jest to dramat.
It's not a drama, there are no direct relationships here. Each of us has our own individual role, but still, this is my Kashubian language.
I to jest moja kaszubska mowa.
WOLÓ BOSKÓ is a treat for music lovers looking for a balance between tradition and modernity, and the link between them is the choreography.
Every single piece of music is inspiration. Every text is an inspiration. The whole story is an inspiration. So the ideas of the movements are very, very different. But for example, one of my favorite ideas is a bare feet and the hands. So there are bare feet of a woman, of a dancer, a female dancer that is kind of discovering the world through her feet. And then there is a main dancer who's one of the main characters, I mean they are all main characters, who's creating feet from his hands for her, or like creating shoes for her feet made with his hands. So I think there are many beautiful concepts that we develop. There is a lot of improvisation involved, but it's very structural. All the emotions, all the intentions are very specific. So we worked a lot. It's contemporary movement. It's not classical ballet, but it's a contemporary movement, contemporary dance. A lot of improvisation and a lot of natural movement. Everybody, absolutely everybody, even not understanding the language, can understand the story and deep meanings and layers and the full complexity of it. Everything is just very, very poetic, but on many subtle levels. So I would say it's going to be not a long show, but something that is like a balm for a soul.
The cycle sheds light on classical works like Schubert's The Fair Maid or The Mill, while offering a fresh take on the little-known Kashubian language and culture.
Znaczy ja mam taką nadzieję, że to będzie
I hope that this performance will open the world of theater and film to the Kashubian language. That's my hope.
teatru I filmu.
The premiere is an opportunity to discover the potential of Kashubian music in the context of classical music.
And that's a wrap for this episode of In Focus. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.